Hello, friends. Welcome to the meditation for the common good. We meet today at the last day, the third day of distribution of the Taurus Solar Festival, which we know and recognize as the Vesak Festival, the most important spiritual point of the year. And we continue the rhythm of our work using the opportunity of the full moon to come together, to meditate, inquiring the elders in the spiritual hierarchy for their wisdom, asking for their guidance and vision of the unfolding divine plan. Today we start the cycle of Taurus, holding in our group field the topic related to the theme of manifesting the principle of sharing in all fields of human endeavors. The topic that was offered to our group based on the sharings that came through our preparatory meeting sounds like the principle of sharing. Let the will to love remove all obstacles to allow the free flow of life in the microcosm and macrocosm. Today we'll start our meditation, reflection, and sharing on this topic, which will continue throughout the next 2 weeks till the new moon, when we will meet again to share the most resonant ideas that we will receive as a group during this period, to be magnetized and radiated to the field of human consciousness, thus inspiring and assisting in leading humanity in its evolutionary path. So let us begin our work today. And as always, we start by recalling our purpose, which Birgit will sound for us.
Hello, friends. Our purpose is to magnetize the ideas of common good, freedom, and brotherhood as the highest values of humanity at this time. We recognize and cherish diversity of perspectives in our group, creating a space capable of invoking, receiving, interpreting, and radiating a higher synthetic vision. We serve as an asramic outpost, building a group bridge of Buddhic energy. We evoke the soul of humanity. We envision humanity as being the seed that is flowering. We prepare the way for the reappearance of the coming one. And over to you, Tracy.
Thank you, Brigitte. Thank you, everyone, for being here today and to continue this work that we're doing, trying to help lift humanity, the common good, and our planet. So we usually begin by reading the seed thoughts that were gathered from our first quarter moon meeting in this cycle of Taurus. And from the seed thoughts is where we create the topic for this particular cycle. So I'm going to go ahead and say the 10 seed thoughts that were gathered at the first quarter moon. Number 1, let love prevail. Let all people love. Number 2, the importance of the circulation of energy and love. The more, the higher the energy, the more the impact it has. Number 3, hope for the recognition of the importance of sharing. Number 4, working with the David Kingdom with love will change the material world. Number 5, I saw a picture of the great water cycle and rivers flowing from the mountains into the sea. Number 6, harmony and unity. Number 7, may the flow of energy go as unobstructed as we possibly can at this moment. And let us use the energy of love and will to learn how to work with obstruction and bring unity into the flow. Number 8, following the path of light, moving the energy of love from the terrestrial plane and self to all planes and all kingdoms. Number 9, may the recognition of our independence lead to manifestation of the principle of sharing. And our final seed thought, number 10. Aloha is used for hello, for goodbye, and for I love you. And from those seed thoughts is how we've arrived at our topic for this cycle, which once again is the principle of sharing. Let the will to love remove all obstacles to allow the free flow of life in both the micro and macrocosms. And now we're going to move forward with our meditation today, which will be led by Aneta, who has very graciously volunteered to focalize the cycle of Taurus for us. So over to you, Aneta. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us begin. Let us sense the warmth of our hearts as we link together. Holding our chalice up, we invoke the impressions and energies which will guide and support the common good of humanity and our planet at this time. Our intention is to be of service, assisting human and planetary life and activity as we focus together as a group in preparation to receive higher thoughts, impressions, and energies that will later be distributed at the time of the new moon.
Let's begin now by aligning to our heart, our asana, and our soul. From here, we align with the group heart, the group asana, the group soul, and the group antakarana. Let's connect now with the hierarchy and all the unseen beings and souls who aid our invocative and evocative efforts on behalf of our service to humanity and all planetary life. We lead our minds and group mind into quiet receptivity to hierarchical energies, ideas, and impressions that are especially available to us during the full moon tide at this time. As we work across the months, from the full moon in Taurus to the new moon in Gemini, we become receptive to and aware of the energies available that will assist with our work. Taurus, in the undeveloped man, is selfish desire, the light of earth. Taurus, in advanced man, is aspiration, the light of love. In disciples and initiates, illumined living, the light of life. Taurus rushes blindly until Sagittarius directs. Taurus is the penetrating light of the path. This is a beam of light streaming forth from the point in Aries and revealing the area of light control. The soul says, I see, and when the eye is opened, all is illumined. In this atmosphere, let us now connect with our topic for this month, the principle of sharing. Let the will to love remove all obstacles of the free flow of life in microcosmos and macrocosmos. As we deepen our contemplation on our topic, let us posit and ponder the following questions. One, the circulation of energy and love is important. The higher the energy, the more impact it has. How can we help elevate the energy and love so it will flow freely in our meditations? The circulation of energy and love is important. The higher the energy, the more impact it has. How can we help elevate the energy and love so it will flow freely in our meditations. Two, the will to love can come through as intuition. How do we sharpen our ability to receive intuition? Can we train ourselves to do this, or do we wait to see if it comes naturally? The will to love can come through as intuition. How do we sharpen our ability to receive intuition? Can we train ourselves to do this, or do we wait to see if it comes naturally? Three, how do we contact the soul? The mystic's way is to lift up to the soul, but the occult way is to bring the soul down into its personality. The occult way is what is recommended. So, how do we do this? How do we contact the soul? The mystic's way is to lift up to the soul, but the occult way is to bring the soul down into its personality. The occult way is what is recommended. So, how do we do this? It is time now to return from the depths of our pondering. As we draw together the impressions from our contemplation, let us allow them to take form. They may come to us as words, pictures, symbols, sound, or even colors. Drawing our impressions together, we now rest in silence for a few more moments. We see our impressions flowing together into the group heart, filling our chalice and vitalizing it with radiant light, enhancing its beauty and the wisdom of its tone. Together, we direct this light upward to the hierarchy and await their blessings upon it. And now, realizing our invocation today, we witness its radiance pouring downward from our chalice into the lower planes, stimulating all receptive hearts and minds. Grounding our work and the energies we have invoked today, let us sound the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call humanity, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. As we close our work today, let us identify with the soul in all and apply our efforts to be in accordance with divine will. We send forth the results of our efforts, thoughts, love, and the energy of our group's work to help humanity and our earth in all its diversity and ultimate unity through its transformational journey into the sacred. We do this through focused direction of energy from our group Ashna, sending the light out to higher beings, to other spiritual groups, to the soul of humanity, and to all sentient beings as we assist the forces of light. Over to you, Tracy.
Thank you, Anata. Let us hold just a few more moments in silence and give ourselves a little time to write some impressions down before we open our sharing time. Also, I just would like to remind everyone that the Community Impressions Board will be available to everyone. And you can find it on the homepage of the 2025initiative.org. And I believe Alexander just put it in the chat box, the link to it. So we extend an open invitation to the Community Impressions Board for our continued sharing across the next 2 weeks or so as we prepare for the evocation time at the time of the new moon. So just a couple more minutes, and I think Alexander will then open it up for further sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, Annette, for leading us in meditation today and offering these important questions for our reflection. So we open now the floor for sharing. So if you'd like to offer your recognition, please unmute yourself and bring it forward to the group chalice.
I'd like to thank you all for this beautiful entry into this time. And I was reminded there's an Alice Bailey quotation about the secret of the will lies in the recognition of the divine nature of man and is closely tied with the recognition of the unconquerable nature of goodness and the inevitability of the ultimate triumph of good. And today's entry into this time together just appeared as a field of opportunity. And I was reminded for my own purposes that in order to answer the questions, I need to recognize the will and the true will, the will to harmonize in this coming age under the fourth ray. And in recognizing that will, recognizing the destructive power of the will, in that recognition of the hindrances to achieving a higher point of energy. And for myself, what came is this visualizing of the field when we meet together and the meditation establishing this potent visualization of the higher that we're all entering, and then to hold the ideas expressed, the impressions expressed as blossoms that emerge on the field, and to not think of the sharing in terms of my own understanding, but to think of the sharing in relation to this great field that we are putting forth together, and then to harmonize my thoughts with that which is expressed as one of those blossoms. So that is what came to me today, and I'm just very grateful to all of you for all of your contributions.
I just want to bring our attention to the chat box, and Marty had to leave, so she wanted to share with us what she received. As we align together, may anything that constricts our shared field dissolve, so that clarity, goodwill, and right sharing can move freely among us and into the wider human family. So thank you, Marty, for that.
Looking at the mic on, sorry. Looking at the first question, and how can we help elevate the energy and love so it will flow more freely in our meditations? It's in a lot of the readings I do and the chats we have recently, this purity of living just keeps coming to the fore. I think the more clear we can be, and the less scattered in our mental activity, in our emotional activity, the clearer the channel, then the more the energy, it's not so much making the energy more stronger, but allowing the energy to flow through, because we are as clear as possible. Thank you.
Just keeps pouring in, and mine is not, it obviously is in need of editing, but here goes thought to share, and with gratitude, as Marty noted, the opportunity to share amongst ourselves. letting the will to love flow freely. There are many definitions of the will, as Michael Robbins just noted in a recent, the will to harmonize was mentioned, the will to harmonize. For me, it's very important to consider the will to good. How do I'm playing around because the will can be destructive indeed with the dissipation of world glamour. In that meditation, it specifically notes that we use the destructive aspect of the will in the work, and that is the word used. Destructive aspect of the will that is invoked at a certain point of tension and alignment. And I think that flows into also that tension and alignment is how we sharpen our ability to receive the intuition. It can come naturally over many, many time, long periods of time. I don't know, now we're talking about the races and the sub-races and the rounds and everything. But at this time, those of us who are here are responding to a unique opportunity and experiment in what we call initiation. So that we enter into this work perhaps not like natural. We have a discipline and that we practice over time, holding tension at the highest point possible of alignment. And I have to say that is the strength of the Arcane School curriculum is that alignment is critical. And then, of course, the ability to hold at that highest point of tension, which is so invocative of the inner, of the higher. We're all mystics, all strong in the foundation of the heart. We're all workers. And the foundation of heart, the will to love, the power of the Buddhic plane. And it is this which leads us into group life, identity, and will enable us as we move forward to work with the will. I'm going to change tracks for a second because I could go on, but I just want to mention at this time of the Buddhic dispensation, which indeed is a dispensation of quality, I don't know, an incredible impulse of livingness, of will that is transmitted in that valley and associated with enlightenment. It's a festival of enlightenment. Christine Morgan offered the word lucidity to encapsulate our work at this festival of enlightenment, to hold perhaps as group that particular word. Lucidity, I would offer. And this would be a wonderful place to end that paragraph chapter of thought. I must add that I myself was incredibly aware that we stand, as we know, as we grow into the Ajna center of our planet, and was very aware of these incredible alignment of heart, of head, of throat, it seemed to me that the vasectomy became a manifestation, a growing manifestation of that inner alignment that we continually foster in our work. Very grounded, very anchored in a precise space of physical, etheric presence, Shambhala hierarchy, and humanity coming into alignment. Truly the saving force and the initiatory process of our planetary logos at this time. Thank you. I would just add that the word lucidity was evoked when Helen mentioned clarity. Lucidity.
When I'm thinking about intuition, I do believe that it is the connection with the soul. It is the moment when, I don't know, it's like in my life, it is the moment when there is no logic, there is no feeling, it's just the vision. It's almost similar to the moment when all of a sudden you weren't even looking for something, but all of a sudden you see it. I would give an example of gathering mushrooms in the forest, but I'm not sure everybody would share that experience. But it is like that, and all of a sudden, and you might have been trying to find something many times, but you couldn't see it, and all of a sudden you see. And it's interesting to me because in the sense of group intuition, when somebody sees something, it's like when you're playing with the kids, and you hide something and you know where it is. It's not even that you look at it specifically, but even knowing where it is, it's enough sometimes. Vision, precipitation, connection that is out of the ordinary. And sometimes it is, built up by much logical thinking and exercise, and but it just doesn't work, and then all of a sudden, you see how it might work. Bridging. And love, to me, it's interesting because seeing and knowing, right? It is to me the heart knows. And reaching into this field of knowledge. But for that, one needs to have an open heart. And for a certain level of knowledge, only group heart works. Because when the experience is not widely shared, group consciousness precipitated through the group heart is invaluable. We can share with one another without being one or another. That's being one. But also, I believe it all depends on the goal, the clarity and lucidity of the purpose. A clarity of purpose inspired by a loving heart. It is a lot of that is very interchangeable and very much, I believe, depends on which ray is employed, what energy is employed, and how the force, so the energy that hit the forum becomes the force, right? Force is directed. Our ability to direct that force, and not just mentally, which is always good, but sometimes insufficient, but through our being that, alignment, connection, etheric connection, without purpose. Visualization is this part of that work, but beautiful questions. I feel like I need to really, really go deep into them. Thank you. Over.
I can continue. The esoteric astrology of the chapter on this Taurus, DK talks about the importance of energy of Taurus in this cycle, and he says that this energy underlies the essence of the conflict that humanity is experiencing in this cycle. And probably it's more than cycle of what we experience with our lifetime. It's a much longer cycle, and he says that it's the Taurus stimulates both desire of material things, and at the same time it stimulates the will to illumination. It's the same energy that underlies those two processes, and that the forces that stand in this ongoing battle that continues for millennia, they are stimulated, both sides stimulated by the same energy. And so he says that it's the secret of the whole evolutionary process of transforming desire into aspiration and into the will. And so reflecting on how we can eliminate, remove obstacles to allow the free flow of life. I think in a way it lies in this recognition, this triplicity of desire, aspiration, and will. And it is the stages, evolutionary stages that we are all going through. And so it's not that we once live in this stage of desire permanently move to the next stage. It's in a dynamic process that we have regularly find ourselves in those different stages, and it's an ongoing work, and it's interesting. That's one of quality of Taurus is persistence and endurance. And so it's an ongoing process of this transmutation and transformation, making lead into gold. Lead into gold. And that's long process. And another thing that I just want to share is that in relations to intuition, there was a very interesting conversation following the Arcane School conference yesterday there was recognitions that several of students shared that the same as in 1925, we know from the books, from the teachings, that the hierarchy moves to the Buddhic plane, creating the flow, or the pulling flow for the new group of world service to move to the mental plane. This hypothesis or sense that the hierarchy this time of the hierarchical conclave of 2025 made the next move shift into Atmic plane, creating a magnetic pull for the new group of world service to shift to the Buddhic plane. And the Buddhic plane, that's the plane of intuition. And so we are now in this process of evocation of our intuitive perception as we making that shift to the level of Buddhi, which means that it's become more and more operational for us, not as aspiration, not as something that where we reach in our meditation, but it's the place where we can gradually learn and train ourselves to be functional there at the level of Buddhi, making intuition our normal state. It's not saying that we are there already, but it's that the highway, the energetical highway that hierarchy opens up for us is now ahead of us.
So when you mentioned our capacity to turn lead into gold, it brought to mind that wonderful mantra, radiance we are, and power. And I loved the questions. Annetta, it was a beautiful meditation. You spoke so well. The how questions, it brought to mind, do we give meaning to our everyday experience? And in the smallest things, there is meaning behind everything that happens to us, because we shift our thinking from happening to purpose itself. And the other mantra, let the soul control the outer form and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of times. In my current moment, to think of this in the Taurus Wesak context, there is opportunity in the very pain of one's experience to turn it all to the common good. It's a simple act of directing meaningful experience into the pool of the collective mind. And it doesn't seem to reduce the pain, but it does bring purpose to everything that happens to us. So that was one thought. The second one is in terms of the availability, the increasing availability of the Buddhic level. When we think of the times in which we live, isn't it also our sensitization to the urgent need that it is our job to see that no life is wasted? And we do that by paying attention, not wishing it away, not asking it to change, but to engage with it. And I'm reading Maria Christina's note after her beautiful sharing. Intuition then becomes our normal state. Thank you.
For most of my adult life, I have consciously and intentionally, I've directed my will and have had my will supporting my strengthening of an increase frequency of intuition affecting my life. And so my simple way of working with that was to pause and honor every occasion that I was conscious that I had received an intuitive information, image, color, whatever form it came in, that I would pause and honor it. And by that, kind of training myself to having that as a highly valued priority, and that has borne great fruits for me. In question 3, it's an eloquent combination of a conscious relationship to the soul. I see my life's work and the life work of, and I believe the life work of every spirit who is embodied is to be bringing the soul into not just the personality, but into the embodiment, and bringing that light and that purity and that power into the material plane to affect the potential lessons and growth and healing of all beings who operate in that plane. I also find the lifting up, the mystic way of lifting up to the soul, to be healing and restorative and inspiring for me. And so that is how I, in that effort, in that reading ecstatic poetry, whatever, really does fill the cup for me, that allows me to then do the work of embodying soul into soul energy, at least soul essence, soul influence into the material. And the overt way that I do that is from the Rainbow Bridge work. I use the soul mantra, and when I I am the soul, I am the light divine, I am love, I am will, I am fixed design. And it does create a spiritual whirlwind that helps clear my field. And that sustains me. The wisdom that's been shared today has been so rich and thick. I wish that I had been recording this meeting, because there's so much to contemplate and so much to touch in on. And I really appreciate everyone's deep sharing and these deep questions and the wonderful establishment of this field by Aneta's work. Thank you.
Just a quick comment that we are recording this meeting, and so it will be available on our YouTube channel.
Oh, that's wonderful. I didn't know that happened. Yes, I've seen the notice that the recording's happening, but I haven't known what was done with it or if it was available. The YouTube channel. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for all the comments. And I have just picked up on that I really agree with the as if technique. It seems to be the one that works for me better than most. And I have learned to be more grateful, because gratitude is so important. Because unless people are made aware that you're grateful to them, how are they to know? So thanks for all the comments. And I think the occult way is recommended, but we do need to also bear in mind the mystic way and combine the both to get the best result, I think. Thank you. Yeah, this is just a lot of rich sharing today, and these questions were wonderful. Pretty deep, that's for sure. I just want to mention that Joe also put something in the chat. I don't know if we all looked at that or not. She was talking about following up on Katya's sharing, and she said it speaks to her of the continuity of consciousness, which is kind of what Jill was just saying. We need to do both ways. You know, you're living in both worlds. Um, when the consciousness of the lower and the higher begin to merge, and this is facilitated by listening deeply into the essence of the words that are shared to the point of shared consciousness. She continues to say, penetrating the words and blending free of hindrances of the personality and literally aligning and then moving into the shared vision. So thank you, Joe, for that. I guess I'd also like to chime in at this point and say there's a couple of things that came to me. One is, how can we, all these questions just blend together so nicely into one thing? How are we changing our energy and bringing in and receiving and expressing these different things? Becoming more intuitive. My teacher once said, he asked the master, what does humanity need to do? And the answer was, humanity needs to become more intuitive. So, and this was, gosh, my master told us, or my teacher had mentioned that, I'm going to say at least 15 years ago or more. So I think it's in what Alexander said, with everything shifting to the higher levels, like hierarchy going to the Atmic plane, kind of, and we're the world servers more on the Buddhic plane. That makes a lot of sense. Um, so, becoming more intuitive and being, again, that comes to becoming more receptive. So cleaning our house up, separating our own chaff from the wheat, to lift the vibration, to separate those vibrations. The lower ones we can transmute and into the higher vibration. Um, So being more receptive and being more receptive to the soul. And of course, the purpose of humanity, of course, is to be able to bring heaven, to be able to function on earth, right? Heaven on earth, to do the will of the one on the physical plane and become at one with our Father in heaven. My Father and I are one. And so I do feel, I know this is a crazy, hectic, and chaotic time, but I think it's also starting to allow that separation of the chaff from the wheat. And I know that's more of a Virgo type of thing, but I think that's something that, through the mother that we just have to do that and nurture it. So thank you.
Yes, indeed. Quite deep recognitions coming. This energy of the Vesak, and thank you again, Annette, for these questions. Let us continue holding these questions in our group field and continue reflecting and sharing our recognitions on the community board. And we will have another opportunity to meet at the quarter moon meeting. We have not discussed and decided yet about the date, so we will have to communicate additionally about the date when we will meet for the quarter moon meeting. And then again, as I said, the new moon, which is actually the new moon in Taurus. It's not Gemini yet, but Taurus new moon, we will meet again and to share and magnetize our most resonant recognitions in the chalice of our group. So thank you, and I invite if anyone would like to step forward and to offer your mantra of choice to close our work today.
We know, O Lord of life and love, about the need. Touch our hearts anew with love, that we too may love and give.